That same day, 2 of Jesus' disciples were going to the village of Emmaus, which was about 7 miles from Jerusalem. As they were talking and thinking about what had happened, Jesus came near and started walking along beside them, but they did not know who he was. Jesus asked them, "What were you talking about as you walked along?" The 2 of them stood there looking sad and gloomy. Then the one named Cleopas asked Jesus, "Are you the only person in Jerusalem who didn't know what was happening there these last few days?" "What do you mean?" Jesus asked. They answered, "Those things that happened to Jesus from Nazareth. By what he did and said, he showed that he was a powerful prophet who pleased God and all the people. Then the chief priests and our leaders had him arrested and sentenced to death on a cross. We had hoped that he would be the one to set Israel free. But it has already been 3 days since all this happened. Some women in our group surprised us. They had gone to the tomb early in the morning, but did not find the body of Jesus. They came back saying that they had seen a vision of angels who told them he was alive. Some men from our group went to the tomb and found it was just as the women had said, but they didn't see Jesus either." Then Jesus asked the 2 disciples, "Why can't you understand? How can you be so slow to believe all that the prophets said? Didn't you know that the Messiah would have to suffer before he was given his glory?" Jesus then explained everything written about himself in the scriptures, beginning with the laws of Moses and the books of the prophets. When the 2 of them came near the village where they were going, Jesus seemed to be going further. They begged him, "Stay with us. It's already late and the sun is going down." So Jesus went into the house to stay with them. After Jesus sat down to eat, he took some bread, he blessed it and broke it. Then he gave it to them. At once they knew who he was, but he disappeared. They said to each other, "When he talked with us along the road and explained the scriptures to us, didn't it warm our hearts?" So they got right up and returned to Jerusalem. The 2 disciples found the 11 apostles and the others gathered together, and they learned from the group that the Lord was really alive and had appeared to Peter. Then the disciples from Emmaus told what had happened on the road and how they knew the stranger was the Lord when he broke the bread. From the Ireland-Palestine Alliance website, Israel operates approximately 500 checkpoints in the West Bank. All of these checkpoints are internal to the West Bank. In other words, none of them control a border with Israel. This is in addition to flying checkpoints, which can be set up anywhere, anytime. It is also in addition to the wall gates, which control the passage of people from the West Bank, including into Jerusalem. In 1 year alone, 68 pregnant Palestinian women gave birth at Israeli checkpoints, leading to 34 miscarriages and the deaths of 4 women at these checkpoints, as the Israeli military prevented their passage to hospitals. From an ecumenical accompaniers blog site, listen to the following post called "Berlin Wall Goodbye, Israel Separation Wall Hello." This was posted on March 16, 2011. A poem from the separation wall between Israel and Palestine. Peace. Peace is a dream worth fighting for. It is a dream worth having while awake. It is a prayer that you can wish on your enemies. It is a direction worth heading in. This is a poem that appears continuously on the separation wall in Jerusalem on the Palestinian side. The 7-meter-high wall started in 2002, and it divides Palestinian West Bank residents from Israel. But it is more. It is a continuous concrete wall that is expected to completely isolate the West Bank. There are checkpoints at every opening, meaning armed Israeli soldiers, often gates that herd as many as 4,000 Palestinians through, security checks where children's school bags are inspected daily, sometimes twice daily, even though it is the same 14 children who pass through that particular checkpoint and who are held up over 45 minutes usually. It is sad to see the view of a 7-meter concrete fence from your patio. Sadder still to realize that your farmland with olive trees was confiscated. 1,000-year-old trees destroyed in order to build a concrete slab. As of 2009 statistics, about 14% of the wall has been built on the Green Line, which is the boundary set between Israel and its neighbors in the 1949 armistice agreements, or on Israeli land itself. 86% is inside the West Bank, meaning inside Palestine. An International Court of Justice advisory opinion in July of 2004 stated the construction of the wall being built by Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory is contrary to international law. Israel is under obligation to dismantle forthwith the structure and make reparation for all the damage caused. In its budget presentation requesting over $7.5 million for their work in the occupied Palestinian territory for 2014, the United Nations Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs states, the continued occupation of the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, ongoing conflict, access restrictions, and internal Palestinian divisions have resulted in a protracted protection crisis in the occupied Palestinian territory. Serious international humanitarian law and human rights violations continue, with Palestinian communities subject to policies that undermine their ability to live normal and self-sustaining lives. Humanitarian assistance in the occupied Palestinian territory is critical to prevent a further deterioration in the protection of the civilian population, improve food security, ensure access to basic services, and prevent forced displacement. Food security and improving the protection environment are among key humanitarian concepts in the occupied Palestinian territory.